Hey guys, so I do a lot of macro photography, take really small things, make them into giant ass 24 by 36 prints. You can see in the background over there. My problem is I'm never satisfied with the sharpness of my photos. So I picked up a couple lenses to find out what is the sharpest lens. So we have 3 lenses here we'll be talking about. We're not going to be using a test sheet, but a real world example. We're going to take a little nug here to get full size and see what's sharp and what's not. Images are going to be taken on the 5DS 50 megapixel camera. I would actually love to use the 5DSR due to the low pass filter cancellation, but unfortunately I still need to buy that body. And here are the 3 lenses. So first of all, we have the 85mm 1.8 lens from Canon. This is not a macro lens, but we will use it. We'll be using extension tubes with it. One thing I gotta say, this lens is my all-time favorite lens. I've used the 85 1.2, and the 1.8 is actually a far greater lens. Overall price, quality, and is just the most awesome lens ever. Second lens we're gonna be using is a 100mm 2.8 macro lens from Canon. And third, which is kind of the oddball lens, is the Canon MPE 65 lens. Now, this lens is a whack job on its own. Very specific lens. This is not something you buy for portraits or anything. The only thing you use this for is really small photos. Anything smaller than 2 centimeters. One comparison here is the subject we're going to be using is going to be 2 centimeters or smaller due to the fact that the MPE 65 lens cannot take photos that are anything bigger than that. That's the largest size object you can take with the MPE 65 lens. As for the photos themselves, all shots are going to be taken on a tripod with a 5-second wait before taking the photo, because we all know when you zoom in that much and there's any slight movement, the photo will shake. The photos will be taken with the same lighting result, focus point, aperture, most likely 8, subject size, and all lenses do not have a filter on them. Let's get into it. So I'm going to show you guys why it's so important to wait the 5 seconds before taking a photo when you're using macro photography. Yeah, you can do it handheld, it will come out sharp, but if you're looking for that 1% and you are using a stable object and your stable camera, you're going to want to actually wait 5 seconds before taking your photo. Now, this is a typical lens cap, and we're just going to drop this on the table, and we're going to review that later for how much it actually moved. Now, even if you bump the table, you'll see how much it moved once you zoom in on that camera. And same thing goes for actually moving. So what I'm going to do, currently I'm crouching, and I'm just going to move my body a little bit. And we're stopped. We're going to review that again on that camera and see how much of a difference it made. If you're shooting in a low light and you're shooting at a lower shutter speed, this will make a massive difference. If you're shooting in full light and I don't know, 300 plus shutter speed, you'll probably be fine, but that's something you just want to keep in mind when you're taking macro photos. It's very important that you wait the 5 seconds before taking your photos. Hey guys, so we're going to go through the photos here. We're going to grab 1, 2, 3, and 4. Drag them over to our computer. Pop up in Photoshop. Alright. Let's open these bad boys up. Lens sharp. We're going to open the CR2 files. Let's take a quick look. %, 100%. We're just going to get rid of some of the noise on these photos. Just a little bit. Now this is a sharpness test, so I'm not too concerned about the colors of it, although it will make a difference. We'll probably just leave these as is. Looking for the raw photo results. We're going to go select all. I'm going to change the noise reduction on all of them to about 30. Open the images. These are 50 megapixel files, so they do take quite some while to open up. And we're just going to tag these photos as well so we know what we're dealing with. I tested this image at 1/320th, didn't really make much of a difference. This is just set to this due to the lighting. Again, each lens will be different for how fast you can shoot it at f8, depending on how much light it sucks in. Obviously, the 85 1.8, the glass is so much larger where it can actually shoot at a faster speed, versus the MPE 65 is a really small amount of glass. It does not suck in nearly as much light, hence we'll have to shoot it at a lower shutter to have the same amount of color. I mean, this one is fairly lighter, but it was just way too damn dark at 320. So now let's compare these close up as close gets. We'll start off with the 85mm. And I did the focusing on all the stems of the nugs. Where's that? Here we're at 100%. So what we're going to just do here is we're just going to crop an area and get these going. Oh, that's not what I want. Copy that. Okay guys, let's go through these 4 shots we have here. I've been originally playing with my 85mm with macro tubes. It's been doing a pretty good job for the standard person. I mean, I try to look for perfection, so I'm kind of insane. But I thought I was doing a good job up until when I saw this. Let's zoom in on these a little bit. So this is just comparing the 85mm 1.8. Again, all these images are shot at f8. The shutter is slightly different, the ISO is the same, and the lighting is pretty much the same as well. The actual focus distance from the tip of the lens to the subject may be different, and of course the focusing distance on the actual lens itself is completely different, as you can't really compare them. But here are the results. The 100mm 2.8 completely just washed away the 85mm with the macro tubes. We'll say that the 100mm is the winner. Just for shits, I decided to add on the 65mm of macro tubes onto the 100mm 2.8. Definitely the sharpness is not there. It's definitely lacking. For what reason? That's the awesomeness of photography, but the 100mm definitely tops it. And now let's just do a comparison of the 100mm versus the MPE 65, as these are the two main lenses that usually go head to head. I mean, if you just take a look right around the ring, I'm just going to copy this. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I'm just going to copy, paste this over. Let's zoom in on these two guys here. This is excessive. We're starting to lose quality here completely. We're just going to back out. But you can see on the 100mm 2.8, the edge is far sharper than the MPE 65. Don't get me wrong, we're looking at these photos with just insane amounts of zoom. So what we're looking at right here is literally this piece right here zoomed in. So first of all, this object right here, this is 2 centimeters down to 1 centimeter, down to half a centimeter, and literally this is now, we're just looking at millimeters of size. So here it is again. We'll actually just open up the MPE 65, but the actual size of this is absolutely tiny. Like, so I'd say the winner out of sharpness detail for shooting macro is the 100mm 2.8. What's nice is that you don't need to add macro tubes. A couple things I will discuss here. The 85mm 1.8, we're just going to go Canadian dollars here. It's a $400 lens. Used a $400 lens. The 100mm 2.8 is roughly around $700 to $800 used. The MPE 65 2.8 is closer to about $1,100 used. Macro tubes, if you're just starting out, go with macro tubes. The macro tubes are really cheap. You get them on Amazon, eBay. Definitely go for the electronic ones. Do not go for just basic plastic. If you pick them up, they're $50 tops with electronic, which means you can change the f-stop, focus, everything else, shutter speed. The plastic ones, you can't change any of that. So you can toss on the macro tubes onto any lens really, and it works amazing. I mean, obviously here you can't compare because you're just comparing a macro dedicated lens to a standard lens. But if you're just starting out and you're looking to get some sharp photos, I mean, you really can't complain. I'm printing these photos out 24 by 36, so realistically, people see them this close. If you're just on Instagram showing your friends off your phone or whatever, they're not going to see this. They're going to see probably that. I mean, disregard this. This is just for a test. If you're doing this actually, you do photo stacking of multiple photos. Let's just open one up. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. This is one of my older photos. This is actually a lower quality. Let's open up a higher quality one. What do we got here? So this is one of my other photos, fully stacked. So this is about 30 images layered, taken with macro tubes on the 85mm 1.8. I mean, this quality is pretty damn good for printing on 24 by 36. It looks great. If you're printing it even smaller, let's say 10 by 14, it looks absolutely stunning. But if you're looking for that extra sharp bit of quality, this is going to make a massive difference if you're shooting on the 100mm 2.8 lens. And that's exactly what I was looking for. I got a bigger camera. This is shot on the Canon 6D with 20 megapixels. It's sharp. I've gone up to the 5D, which is 50 megapixels. I'm going to be shooting with the 100mm 2.8. So I'm hoping to double the quality and double the size of how sharp these edges are going to come out. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, you can actually check out the link below. I'm going to post right here. Help me out, buy one of my prints. Any questions, comment below. Hopefully I can answer some questions, and hopefully we'll be doing more reviews later on. Thanks for watching.